finally be able to talk to you.
Yeah, we've been trying to set this up now for a while. So it's
Yeah,
great to finally.
I've been wanting to get you on here for so long. I've been following you. You've been it looks like you finally you've been building a new house. Is that what you've been doing?
Well, I wasn't building a house. It
Okay.
was I bought a new house, and the garage basically had just raw 2x4s, no insulation, and there was no freaking electrical outlets in the whole garage. And so I wired a sub panel. I insulated the whole garage. I added like 10 outlets at about countertop high so I can plug in hand tools and stuff. And then I drywalled it, painted it, and now it's all ready to rock and roll. So that's
That's
what I
amazing.
was doing with construction.
So for the people out there who may not be familiar with your story, could you give me like a brief synopsis of your background?
Yeah, I mean, a real quick synopsis. I grew up on a farm, doing horses and cattle and pigs. I was a football player. I played rugby, played lacrosse. I did a lot of that stuff, and I was pretty good at it. I graduated from high school. I went to Virginia Military Institute, and then after I left college with a Bachelor of Science in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. I'm sorry, but then I didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And right at that time period, Desert Shield and Desert Storm kind of broke open. So that was 1990. And immediately when I saw that war starting, I said, as an American, as a citizen, I'm going to join the military. And that's what I did. I joined with a specific intent to be a Navy SEAL. So immediately after boot camp, I pretty much went to Navy SEAL training, BUDS, and then I graduated BUDS at the top of my class. I had my pick of SEAL team, and I picked SEAL Team 1. I was at SEAL Team 1 for 9 years, and then I went on to a couple of SEAL teams after that. And after 20 years of SEALs, I retired, and I was working for the government at Pentagon, and I was retired. I had retirement. And so I was kind of letting my hair grow a little bit longer than a buzz cut that you have normally for military. And then I started kind of looking back on life, and I found that I defended liberty and I defended the pursuit of happiness, and I had neither. So I wasn't happy, and I just was not fulfilling what I would say would be, my personal liberty. The individual liberty that we have in America, I think, is our greatest asset. The fact that you can live your life, as fully as you want, and you're not harming anybody else, you're not doing anything that affects anyone else, in a negative way. You just want to live your own personal liberty. And so that's what I said I want to do. And at that point, I said, hey, I'm transgender and I've been hiding this and afraid my entire life. And starting that day, I started living as Kristin. I said, the heck with it. I'm not going to put up with my living and hiding and being afraid all the time. And I defended liberty. So don't I have a chance to live some of it myself? And that's what I finally came to a conclusion. And I think every American should have that same opportunity to live the fullest life they can without fear, without ridicule, without being, prejudiced or bigotry and everything else that comes with the territory of being a minority or being someone who is, disenfranchised from the system. And when I talk about the system, I talk about it's a it's a system that's been set up around the world for eons, and it has to do with class and the caste structure. And that caste structure is kind of what has affected us badly in so many ways because it's so hard to break. If you're born into a lower class, if you're born into a lower caste, it's so difficult to get a foot up in order to raise beyond, your birthplace. And I was born into a lower middle class, blue collar. We worked all our lives. My family came from Sweden during the potato famines and everything else that were going on in Europe. So we were running away from famine and pestilence and all of that, and came to America to try to live a better life. And so for generations, my family, we've never really gone past, very much past that, lower middle class blue collar existence. We just haven't had an opportunity to raise above that. We're just not that we're given the opportunity. There are opportunities out there, but it's very, very difficult to get above that. And the only way you can get above that class or caste system is through education and opportunity. And America offers great opportunity. Education, it's difficult. You know, you need money to get that education. You need money to go to Harvard. You need an open slot to go to Harvard. I wanted to go to Harvard, but I just never had the opportunity. It wasn't available to me because of money or because of the high schools I went to. I just didn't have the grades. I didn't have the drive. I didn't have the instructors from grade school through high school. If you don't have that, seize the day professor. And I love that movie, Carpe Diem and all that. What was that movie called? With Robin Williams, wasn't it? Seize the day, go. It
Oh,
was
I can't remember.
Dead Poet Society.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I love that movie because it just shows the impact of one professor, of one instructor. And if you don't have that throughout your life, you're missing. And mentorship, you need a mentor. And a lot of people do not ever have a mentor or an instructor that motivates them beyond just 2 + 2 is 4. Two
Right.
plus three is 8. No, it's 5. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm not saying that I never had the opportunities. I've had great opportunities. But I do think if I would have had one of those professors, maybe in grade school, to just push me a little bit further to really understand what it's like to really buckle down and do the studies and then go a little bit beyond and get those grade point averages and get it up and figure out where you're at. And then you would have a better opportunity to attend a better college, when you're, at a college age. I just think that those opportunities aren't offered to a lot of people, you know, only to
Definitely.
very few. Does that make any sense?
Oh, totally,
It's
totally.
I talked a lot about all kinds of different stuff, so
No, I
but
think
that's what it's
it's
about.
I think it's so fascinating all the things that you've been able to accomplish in your life. Just being able to get through buds training, which is like one of the hardest things a human could possibly get through. The closest way I can relate to it is I listened to David Goggins' book about it,
Yeah.
which was there were
Goggins
so
is pretty
many
awesome.
his brutal details of trying to survive buds and failing
Have
it
you?
so many times. Like, so yeah, so when I first listened to David Goggins' book, that was the first time I'd ever
Mm,
even learned anything about the details of what buds is like.
yeah.
And listening to that was like being shot up with pure adrenaline, just listening to what he had to deal with. And
Yeah.
the fact that you got through that training on your first attempt, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you
And
describe to me what that process? Can you
graduated at
paint
the top of the class. Yeah.
can you paint a picture for me and for the audience of what that was like and how grueling that was for you to get through it? And not only that, but what was like the deep down burning desire for you to get through that training initially?
Well, let me first cover that I made it through the first time. And I will not say that's a feat. It's a great thing. It's like whatever that. Because the thing is, getting through buds, your first time, second time, third time, however many times it takes you, it's a matter of luck. It's a matter of timing. It's a matter of where you are in your life. Because you figure that you're going through something that's 6 months long. Every day is a workout. Every day is a mental challenge. Every day is you being just exhausted and just making it to the next day. Now, if you're on an obstacle course and some of the obstacle course obstacles are up 50, 60 feet high, if you do anything the slightest mistake when you're 60 feet off the ground and you fall, you're not going to make it through buds. If you're on an obstacle, even if it's 10 or 15 feet tall, 10 or 15-foot fall could potentially break a leg and arm. It could kill you if you fall badly. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so,
definitely.
and so every day in buds, you're flipping a coin. How lucky am I? You're flipping a coin. Where's my mental preparation? Where's all that? So that's the thing is for people who tried to go through buds and they tried at one time and they failed for whatever reason, I'm just like, dude, you had a bad day. You got unlucky. You fell off that. You got hurt here. You got that. Something happened. So, but if then a mental challenge comes into it, the mentality of just perseverance and never quitting. So they missed it the first time. They should have gone the second time. They probably would have made it. It would have been a great seal. They didn't try again. So there's where they failed. So I would say that you just didn't persist enough. You didn't keep going. You didn't drive hard enough. You didn't do that. So there's a lot of equations that you could say, and you could make stuff up. You could say this or that or that or that, and none of it's true. It's all made up. It's all equations that who's best prepared to make it through buds? I don't know. They would have never thought I would have made it through because I was like a mediocre athlete in high school and college. I wasn't great. I was fast. I would run, 15 miles and do well because I would just gut it out. I had that drive that just would never ever stop. I'd run with a broken leg. Goggins talks about that constantly, that he's running with so huge foot, blisters on his feet that he's bleeding through his sneakers. What kind of mental attitude do you have to run a 50-mile course and your feet are bleeding? That's David Goggins. That's almost every SEAL I've ever met. But it's not something you have normally, or is it something that everyone has? Because when you think about it, we are animals. We're part of the animal kingdom, just really high up on the totem pole, not the top. Because I think sharks are pretty high when it comes to water. And if you're a big bear or grizzly, that's pretty high up on the totem pole for land creatures. And the dinosaurs, they're freaking badass. But they're gone. Why are the dinosaurs gone? Those things were badass. They'd crush anything on Earth. T-Rex? Come on, man. How come we don't have T-Rexes anymore? Those things were tough. And that's the top of the food chain. Now, if we think we're on the top of the food chain, we're killing ourselves. We're kidding ourselves. We don't know what we're talking about. So I don't know, man, what makes it make somebody get through buds the first time, second time, third time. But I do know that I think we all have the capability to really dig into that primitive state that we have in human beings. And it goes into that the crocodile brain.
Yeah.
It's on Happy Gilmore and they make fun of it. The crocodile, why is he so angry? 'Cause he has
Abdullah
so many
Oblongata.
feet. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. So, but the thing is if you can tap into the crocodile brain, the Abdullah Oblongata, if you can tap into that type of survival and the real instinct we have as human beings, then you're into something. That's how you make it as a SEAL. You're not relying on the higher learning that I'm going to run for 20 miles and my feet are going to bleed out. If you're thinking about your higher learning, your higher mental capacity, you're not going to make it because then you're going to start overthinking it. I'm going to probably hurt myself. I'm going to hurt myself badly and I'm going to have this injury for the rest of my life. No, man, make your alligator brain talk.
Yeah.
My alligator brain is telling me keep going.
Wow.
So there's no equation. Who knows who makes it through buds? I don't know. You're going to have the guy who's the freaking person they call a nerd his entire life. He's amazing at computers, and nobody ever saw him run a mile in his entire life. And that guy ends up being a top guy.